So welcome to my talk, Using SvelteKit and MIT App Inventor to Inspire Young Girls for Tech. First, a little bit about myself. I'm a husband, father of 4 kids, as you see in the picture here. And I originally started out in robotics, but I made my hobby into my passion, into my day job, and I work now in web technologies. I'm a web enthusiast at Woom, the kids bike brand. More on that later. I'm also a musician because 4 kids, full-time job. I needed a little bit more challenge. And I'm also one of the founders of Svelte Society Vienna because I need more buzz in my life as well. So I want to talk today about the Wiener Töchtertag, which was last week. There were over 300 companies who attended in and around Vienna, where girls, starting with the first Unterstufe, whatever that is in English, could come and try out tech jobs and just get an idea of how that works. And the idea behind it is that young girls like to show them what it looks like, that they can touch something, do something with it. And what we did at Woom was, at the one hand, using AI to generate a user interface. We used V0 from Vercel, and it was kind of fun. And like it did even integrate like a camera reader where it opened and had interactivity with the camera. So there was like really some nice cool things going on. Even generated a map and all of that. And there were like quite cool conversations around data collection and stuff going on. And then the second station with me, where we built an Android app with MIT App Inventor. And yeah, I had just a bare bones template prepared, and the girls were able to build this app themselves, put all of the user interface together and then the logic together as well. So that's like a really cool experience in my opinion. So we had 15 super girls. It was super fun, and we need super bass. Because what we wanted to do is like have a dashboard that shows the registered bike with the app that we built. So super bass, super easy to set up. I'll say super a few more times. SSR is super for initial loading speeds for server-side render, and that's possible with Superbase and SvelteKit. It's also super easy to subscribe to changes on the front end, on the client, and I'll show that in code. It's really easy to set up. And of course, we need an API route for Android app to connect to. And we need, of course, confetti for every new entry that reaches our dashboard. So we come now to the demo part. For anyone who wants to download the finished Android app, there is a QR code. I'll leave that up now. We need at least a few to see the confetti afterwards. So let's switch over. So let's do, as the first step, let's jump into the MIT App Inventor. So this is kind of the finished product, and I want to show you around it a little bit on what can be done. So like we previously, before that project, or fun little project with the girls that were there. I built treasure hunt apps and all of that kind of thing. So it's really versatile and can do quite a lot of things. On the left side, there are some user interface things and layout and media. Very important, for example, are the sensors. You can do, for example, a barcode scanner. And you see down here, it's already, I'll make it a little bit bigger. There's a barcode scanner already added as a non-visible component. And yeah, so the user interface is pretty simple. You put in your name, you put in an emoji, you scan a QR code, and then you register. So the user interface, pretty simple. You can change a lot of stuff. And the design, and then in the backend, you have like little Lego blocks. So perfect for dipping your toes into coding. So getting them familiarized with what are variables, how do we use them, helping them to understand like interactions with click events, or when the QR code scanner finishes reading, or how do we actually submit data from our Android app to our website. How do we do that? Yeah, and some small error handling, of course. So that was something that they were allowed to build in about half an hour, me guiding them through all of the steps and having some papers prepared so they have an idea about the design and the flowchart of what users should do in our application. So let's take a little peek at our code as well. So setting up Superbase, super easy for SvelteKit. There is a really nice documentation specifically for SvelteKit to get server-side rendering and a server-side client of Superbase up and running. You extend your hooks.server.ts, and they recommend, or their recommendation, you can of course name it in whatever way you want, is to attach it to event.locals.superbase, where we use the create server client from Superbase SR, and like this is pretty much copy paste. The only thing that you need to do in your env variable, you set up goes to the public Superbase URL and the anon key to access that database, and then you're good to go. Another thing that might be nice to set up is in your app.tts, I don't have that opened at the moment, to get some IntelliSense and some TypeScript, would be to set up some database, like type generation for your Superbase, which is also read it in the docs, do it one time, and you're good to go. So you get IntelliSense on what tables you have, what you can filter, what you can query. So it's quite nice. It does what it should do. As a next step, when you've set up all of the background, you have Superbase available in your server code. So in this case, we are at the server part of the page, which is the root page, where we prefetch all of the existing data, order it by ID. So we have like the newest ones on top. Oh, of course, sorry. I did that on the other screen, but is that fine? Yeah. Perfect. Cool. Yeah, so we have a load function where we load our data from Superbase. And if we take a look here, we should have type IntelliSense and type checking for registration. So if we would have a typo here, registration without the N, it would tell us right away. So it's super easy to set up, super nice to have IntelliSense. So of course, we want to get real-time updates in the client because a dashboard needs to be responsive and all of the data needs to be super accurate, up to date. And that's also really easy. I decided to create inside of in the lib folder a Superbase frontend client. Not really necessary in this small scope of a project, but like a good practice. And of course, I put in the typing here as well. So also in the front end, when we use that one client, we'll always get the correct typing. On the page itself, it's really easy to set up the updates. So what I did is I listened to that channel. You need to enable that on Superbase because it's not enabled by default, which is, I guess, for performance reasons. And then when we have changes, whatever event, we just take the payload, more hack than anything else. Just take the payload and put it into the first position. And then in order to display the confetti, we'll hide the confetti component, wait a little bit, and then show it again. So it sprinkles magical stuff there. We'll hopefully see that afterwards in the dashboard. So the last part that we need to take a look at our API endpoint for our Android app, or very sophisticated Android app. So what I do here is just get out the query parameters and then our API that gets the bike data and links it up to some frame number that's printed on the bottom of each bike. So like each frame number is unique, and we have a way to link that hidden away behind this API. And then when I get the bike information, I push that forward into Superbase, and the front end listens to those changes. This way. So that's the code part. Before we jump to the next step of the presentation, are there any code-related questions before? Yes.
Don't forget to save plus pages.
No, I will not save those. Superbase is its own little thing, and it's just API calls. So API calls work great on Svelte. This dashboard is hosted on Cloudflare pages, but it could be hosted on Svelte or whatever other platform you choose with the amazing adapters that are available.
I think there's even integration with Svelte. Directly create a database through Svelte.
Yeah, I haven't tested that. Yeah, then moving over to the dashboard. We already have some, we already have some data here. And now if some people would take out their app and maybe scan one of those QR codes on the left side, there is a red bike. And on the right, or my right side, your left side, there is a hot pink bike. So whatever you prefer. All the girls preferred the hot pink bike. So if you put in your name and your emoji and then register, it should show us some confetti here. Two, wow. Wow, 2 bikes. You would expect. Yeah, so that was kind of the experience that those 15 girls had at our office with something that they built themselves and were able to see visualized nicely on a dashboard. So jumping back to this. Yes. So we've seen all of the demo right now, unfortunately. So I'm done for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Any questions?
I don't know anything about App Inventor. What's the output?
API, or you can also somehow connect it with some iPhone stuff. I'm not an iPhone user, so I didn't try that. Originally, it was just built for Android. And like, it's pretty cool. They have their build server that you kind of trigger, and then you get a QR code to download the app. And very simple. Really nice experience. You can even do USB debugging stuff if you want to. So it's quite a nice experience for this really Lego build your app kind of thing. Cool. Then thank you for your time, and I'll hand over